Welcome to your weekly World Climate Change News Report. Our headlines this week are 2020 in the top 3 hottest years on record, UN urges the world to reduce fossil fuel production, Vanuatu and the future of climate change litigations, Jacinda Ardern to declare climate emergency, European Court's decision raises hope for climate campaigners, online shopping is boosting emissions, and autumn and climate change. Our first story, 2020, is in the top 3 hottest years on record. According to the latest report published by the World Meteorological Organization, 2020 will be among the 3 warmest years ever, and 2011 through 2020 will be the hottest decade on record. Scientific evidence shows that rising temperature is a direct consequence of climate change. The surface temperatures of the ocean are also high in 2020. Climate change is causing a rise in extreme events such as cyclones, floods, rainfall, and droughts. Second, UN urges the world to reduce fossil fuel production. The UN has warned that the nations are planning to produce much more fossil fuel in 2030 compared to their Paris Agreement commitment. According to 2015 Paris Agreement, global coal, oil, and gas production should fall annually by 11%, 4%, and 3% respectively between 2020 and 2030. However, government plans are showing an average increase of 2% for each fuel, and these plans should be urgently reviewed in order to reach climate change goals by 2030, as reported by the UN. Third, Vanuatu and the future of climate change litigations. Weather extremes linked to climate change have recently caused billions of damages to island nations like Vanuatu. As the climate grows volatile, a task force of politicians and intellectuals in Port Vila plan to bring a case to The Hague to argue that large polluting countries are responsible for climate-linked damage in Vanuatu. Given that the ICJ has never issued an advisory opinion on climate change, this would be a significant accomplishment by climate activists. Our fourth story, Jacinda Ardern to declare climate emergency. In her previous administration, she passed a zero carbon bill. She commits to reaching carbon neutral emissions by 2050. The bill was also supported by the opposition party. In her second term, Ardern still highlights the threat of climate change. On the 4th of December of 2020, she put forward the motion of climate emergency in the Parliament. If it is passed, New Zealand will join the 32 other countries which have also declared a climate emergency. Next, European Court's decision raises hope for climate campaigners. In a landmark decision for the fight against climate change, the European Court of Human Rights decided to move forward with a complaint filed by 6 young individuals against 33 countries on account of their contribution to the climate crisis. While similar cases typically fail to reach a later state in the process, the court decided to prioritize the specific complaint based on the importance and urgency of the issues raised, thereby setting an important and hopeful precedent for climate campaigners and activists. Our next story, online shopping is boosting emissions. British research has found that online buying has increased by 60% in 2020 due to the global pandemic. With festive seasons around the corner, an extra 145 million purchases are expected to be made, taking the national total to over $1 billion. This translates directly to an increase in packaging and delivery van trips, generating an excess of 4,888 tons of CO2 emissions, exacerbating climate change. And our final story, autumn and climate change. The newest study written by ecologist Philip James shows that climate change accelerates the process of the change of color and fall and autumn leaves. As the autumn season becomes longer, this phenomenon brings a significant impact on the environment. It leads to a surge of carbon dioxide levels. A 10% rise in the carbon uptake means leaves fall 8 days sooner. And as the levels of carbon escalates day by day, the weather gets warmer and the autumn season becomes longer than ever. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for weekly world climate change news updates.